All right, good afternoon, everyone. It is 10 after 1, and we're going to start. Everybody can take their seats. We will proceed. I will now call to order the December 7th, 2017 regular meeting of the City of Rancho Mirage City Council. Library Board, Housing Authority Board, and the City Council representing the Redevelopment Successor Agency. Jeremy, will you please rise and with us do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, get this seat up here. Okay. Thank you, Jeremy. Appreciate that. All right, we will now have the roll call, please, Christy.
Councilmember Hobart?
Here.
Councilmember Smotrich?
Here.
Councilmember Weil?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Kite?
Here.
Mayor Townsend?
Here.
Thank you. And Mr. Mayor, our,
Yes.
our Administrative Services Director would like to make a recommended change to the agenda.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, staff would like to request that we pull item number 9 from today's agenda and bring it back at a later date. And really the reasoning for that is to allow staff more time to go through our mid-year budget adjustments and through our peak revenue period, and then bring this back later in the fiscal year when we have a sharper estimate on the surplus and paying donations out of the surplus.
Thank you, Isaiah. But first, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak regarding item number 9? All right, seeing none, I will order that the item number 9 be pulled from the agenda.
No, without objection.
Without objection? Tell me.
Read it.
He ordered it to be pulled without objection.
Was that number 9?
Yes.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Consideration of donation?
No, no.
Yes. Yes, that's the one.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Raise an objection.
All right.
I beg your pardon, I wasn't following you at that moment. Yeah, I'd like to raise an objection if
You want to
everyone's
state your
clear.
name?
I'm sorry?
Want to state your name
Alan Worthy,
and the city, Alan.
Palm Springs.
Thank you.
Yeah, so on number 9, consideration of donation to Eisenhower Medical Center, I would beg that you not make a donation to Eisenhower Medical Center until they abide by the law. I have there, as I pointed out the last time I was here, there are attorneys at the bar. I have standing because it's been escalated. And you should send them a strong message that we're not going to tolerate it. All of this nonsense that's going on in this country, at the end of the day, and I can now not use my other time to speak, it comes down to one thing: respect. And there is a lack of respect in that legal and risk management department, which virtually does not exist. Never mind defending the hospital, it's a crime scene. And please send a message and do not make a donation this year to Eisenhower. Send a polite message, thus far and no farther. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. All right. Now we will move to presentations. In our audience, we have with us today Darla Burkett, Executive Director of the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission, is here to provide us with an update. Darla, how are you?
I am so well, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm just so pleased to be here before this wonderful council. I want to give you an update. We've been working together on a partnership with your funding support and the rescue mission. The first day, actually, that we got our funding support from the City of Rancho Mirage, we opened our multi-purpose room, which is a full-size gymnasium, to an additional 37 people. 14 of those people are children. So thank you so much, because with your support, we were able to expand our services. We're no longer 250 people cap. We're at 307 today. We're doing really well. We have staffing 24 hours in the multi-purpose room, proper bedding, and expanded meals, showers, and services. And out of the people, the new people that have come from the west end of the valley, we see between 15 and 33 people every month from the west end. So we're able to support that group. Out of those people, and I'm going to give you an average of 33 because we did a count and an update this morning, 18 of those people are employed, saving their money, and they'll be housed within the next 3 months. So your support is allowing us to help these people get back into the mainstream in society. The rescue mission also has 7 rental homes that we rent in the community, and then we rent out rooms, room by room, so everyone gets a room. We don't make any money off those homes, no profit at all, but we allow people that are making $10, $50, or $11 an hour the opportunity to have a nice home, and they're doing so well that we just rented our 7th home. So if the city of Rancho Mirage has any homes or any realtors that would like to help us with an affordable, say $1,800 to $2,000 a month, we have renters that are just specifically looking for things like that. We look for 5-bedroom homes to place people in because of, as you all know, the affordable housing here in the valley is becoming unaffordable very quickly. So, but I'm here just to thank you and let you know that you have helped already 96 people since we got the first funding check support from you, and lots of children. They're all in school, they're all thriving, they're all getting ready for the holiday season. We celebrate Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, whatever you might celebrate at the holiday season, we do at the Rescue Mission for people of different faiths or no faith. So we're grateful, just grateful to be so partnered with the city of Rancho Mirage, who is so generous. A couple of you came out, and I'm grateful to have had you for another tour. Anyone who hasn't been there, I'm going to leave my cards with the city clerk. I invite you, I urge you to come out. Mr. Wheel and Mr. Hobart, anyone that has a chance to come out, I'll give you a personal tour, and you can see a really beautiful solution to the problem of homelessness taking place every day. We placed 7 families in homes yesterday, so thank you for being part of that. I'm grateful for you, and I wish you all peace on earth and happy holidays.
Well, thank you, Darla, and it was a pleasure for Iris and I to visit and see the wonderful operation and the way you handle people. It's really a commendable thing that you do for these people. You work very hard, you always have, and on behalf of the city of Rancho Mirage, it was our pleasure to recognize and be able to give you that support. Thank you, Darla.
Thank you all very much. Happy holidays.
Darla, come back whenever you want. You're welcome here.
For toys and things? You know, we do have, I was just informed again to remind you guys that we do have bins in the lobby for you people here, people watching this on television, for food or toys or anything you wish to supply for the Coachella Valley Rescue Mission. It would certainly be greatly appreciated. Thank you. All right, now moving on, we will move to public comments. This is the opportunity for the public to speak on items that are not on the agenda. As a reminder, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please start by saying who you are and the city that you reside in. Are there any people who would like to speak? And I do have 3 cards here. Jack Shebnick from the wonderful Chamber of Commerce of the city of Rancho Mirage. Hi, Jack.
Good afternoon, everybody, and I have a pleasure of being here today. I can't believe I only have 2 more months of the honor of being the chairman of the board for the chamber, but we started something last February that we're going to come every council meeting and give you a 2-minute update of what's going on. And because most of you are tired of seeing my face, tired of hearing me and seeing my face, especially we just spent 4 hours together, Charlie and Iris, the other day, I want to introduce one of our ambassadors. Nicole Mendoza is from Locals Choice. She's an ambassador to the chamber. She's going to tell you what's going on, and she's going to tell you why she's with the chamber. And with that, I just want to wish everybody a great holiday season, and thank you again for all the support.
Jack, let me just say to you that every minute I spend with you is a wonderful experience.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jack. Good afternoon, everyone, Mr. Mayor, council members. My name is Nicole Mendoza. I am with Locals Choice, printing and direct mail. We are right across the street at the atrium. And I'm also one of the newest members as an ambassador with the Rancho Mirage Chamber of Commerce. I live here, I work here, I love Rancho Mirage. I think that being a part of the Rancho Mirage Chamber and what made me want to become an ambassador is the intimacy of this chamber. It's so wonderful. I love the community, the sense of the community, and I love becoming more involved with other business owners and residents of Rancho Mirage. So with that said, oh, and I also want to say that Samantha and Chelsea and Jack, where are you, Jack? Have been phenomenal. They have really, really made a great difference with this chamber, and it's a pleasure to be part of it.
Good.
So let me tell you what's going on with the chamber. So this coming Monday, the chamber is hosting a ribbon cutting at 5:30 at the Coachella Winery. It's the new wine bar that's opened at the river, and their grand opening is going to follow that. And then we also have 2 mixers this month. Not 1, but 2, so get your party shoes on. December 13th, we will be having a mixer along with the Palm Springs Chamber of Commerce at the Kobe Japanese Steakhouse from 5 to 7. And then on December 19th, we're having our annual holiday mixer at our local favorite, Babe's Bar and Grill. And that's also from 5 to 7. That one always has such a great turnout, so I've seen many of your faces are so familiar because I realize I have seen you at these events. So I'm so happy that you attend and support this wonderful, the greatest chamber, right, Jack? And
Right, Jack? Jack, right, Jack.
Is he awake?
Very good.
You awake, Jack? Does anybody have any questions for the chamber?
Let me just say to you that being an ambassador is the backbone of any chamber, and I have seen such a great expanse and wonderful cooperation with the ambassadors that have joined that chamber. I am deeply proud, having been a part of it for 20 years and seeing the history of it. Today it is the best I have ever seen. Congratulations to all of you, to Jack, to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Happy holidays.
Sure.
Thank you.
Next is Mr. Alan Worthy.
Yes, thank you. So to touch on that Kool-Aid swearing in last night, needless to say, that election was a huge disappointment. So I pretty much put them on notice last night, and especially Christy Halstead, being an attorney, that this will not continue. And Mr. Kors and Mr. Roberts, who, the drunken sailors who both made a commitment to speak to me once they were elected, and 2 years later that's never happened, and also pointed out they're both in violation of their oath and begged Ms. Holstead not to go down that same garden path. Unfortunately, Mr. Kotkin, the new city attorney, have the first obnoxious letter, not first, but one of many, from Doug Holland that's especially egregious, and now this is the one from Mr. Kotkin. I have given him until 5 o'clock today to retract this letter, okay? And if not, then I will take him to the bar. Of course, not all of it, but some of it, and this harkens right back to what happened, the crime at Eisenhower, okay? I want to move on with my life and my career. This isn't making it any easier. In fact, it's libel, okay? I'm not going to tolerate it by the same, token, and for this lovely letter that all of you have a copy of, not this one, but this one, of which I'm getting ready to tell you about. I cannot be libeled and defamed and slandered on the latest knee-jerk Kool-Aid attorney. I mean, no offense to you gentlemen, you know what's going on. And then they just go right down the same path over and over again. They don't learn to listen. His secretary, his paralegal corrected him, and he did it anyway. The good news is I don't think I have to convince any of you that I am not the person in the first letter, nor am I this person. Okay? And this is why it's so important. I'm at long last, after all of these delays, going to start, this is the good news, you're all sitting down, going to start and form the Ginger Rogers Foundation. And that's the letter that you all have. And so I state, this is the mission statement. Moving on. The purpose of the Ginger Rogers Foundation is to preserve both her legacy and the gift of dance, and to impart to the public and to youth works of purpose. And in keeping with that, I have several things planned. One, at the Tolerance Education Center, a reading of a play on February the 7th, which I'll talk about again. This play is very, very good, hence it's very difficult to cast. I'm not quite done with that. The second item is my fourth musical, Let Them Eat Cake. So you can imagine, but it's not that avant-garde or crazy. We don't want to go there. It's a beautiful operetta and type style, very much inspired by the Christian Science hymnal. And the third item is a new play called The God Game, and it will be, it's to be announced. And then I state, at present, I'm looking to raise $2,500 for attorney fees to file for the Ginger Rogers Foundation. Please contribute to this all-joyous endeavor. So you have that letter, as I've said, and thank you so much for your support. And let's just move on. Let's learn that all key word, respect. Respect. We all know the old saying, one in every crowd. Well, there's just one department in every crowd. And it doesn't have to be a legal department. You don't have to deal with it like that. So thank you again for your support. I greatly appreciate it. And please contribute. I finally found the right attorney, and I'm ready to move forward. So thank you.
Thank you, Alan. All right, next on the agenda, we have Mr. David Lebinsky. David?
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is David Lebinsky, and I have lived at San Jacinto Villas since the complex opened. Among other things, I am a certified master gardener. 2 years ago in December, we lost over a dozen trees in high winds because I am told by the contractor the contract to have them trimmed had been sitting on the housing director's desk for weeks. It cost the city thousands of dollars to have them cut up and removed. In fact, over the course of the past 6 years, nearly 40 shade trees have been lost due to improper care, misguided budget restraints, and general mismanagement at a great cost to the city. Although minor trimming has occurred, it has been 18 months since a major pruning. The last significant thinning was done in June of 2016 in the heat of the summer, which is not ideal. But the trees survived and thrived. Boy, have they thrived. They are now double in size, twice as tall, and dangerously top-heavy, which makes them extremely vulnerable to wind. For the trees to survive, it's going to cost more money than it did 18 months ago. But the new housing coordinator has acquired only one of 3 required bids, and that is only for the 25% trim of the 52 mesquite trees on the property. 25% is not acceptable. There are over 100 other trees on the grounds also in dire need of pruning. The pencil acacia trees that line San Jacinto Boulevard need to be topped by as much as 10 feet, or we will lose them all. I walked the property with the new property coordinator in early November when I pleaded to have the trees trimmed, and again yesterday. We are in December, and strong winds will hit us any day. The trees are a big part of what makes San Jacinto Villas so special. The property is long and narrow, and the trees provide shade for the residents' apartments and casitas and protection for the long walk to the mailboxes and pool. They are also a wind block. It is incomprehensible to me that the city can spend almost $4 million on an observatory, but is unwilling to spend whatever it takes for the professional maintenance of our trees. It also blows my mind that a city with so many properties and medians to maintain does not have in its employ a qualified, knowledgeable person to supervise the many thousands of dollars of landscaping contracts signed each year. Thousands of dollars have been lost on replacement plants that did not make it through the summer. It has been 5 years since the state cut off funds for the development agencies. It is time to create a new revenue stream to supplement the income generated from rent to properly maintain these important city housing assets. I would suggest that a portion of the income from the biggest surplus of any valley city is a good place to start. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other people in the audience who wish to speak on items that are not on the agenda and have not filled out a card? Now is your time. All right. Seeing none, I will close that portion of the meeting and we'll move on to council comments. I will start. Let me start with the fact that the Human Rights Campaign Foundation annually releases a Municipal Equality Index. This index scores cities based on their attentiveness to the LGBTQ community through local laws, policies, and services. The 2017 index is the third produced by the Human Rights Campaign. And for the second year in a row, I am very happy to announce and proud to announce that the city of Rancho Mirage has received a perfect score. This is one more reason for all of us to be so proud of this fine city of Rancho Mirage. At this time, I'd also like to take a moment to address the subject of sanctuary state. I'd also like to point out that the Riverside County Sheriff's Department, with which the city of Rancho Mirage contracts for law enforcement services, does follow a non-discrimination policy. So there is our position on the sanctuary city. Having said that, we will now move on to continuing the council comments, and I will turn it over to Mr. Richard Kite.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. It's good to see you today.
Thank you, sir.
Wish everybody a good day today, and thanks for coming to our meeting. Today, I'm really proud to acknowledge the outstanding accomplishments of the 2017 Rancho Mirage High School athletic program, particularly the girls' varsity tennis team and the boys' varsity football team. I want to congratulate the Rancho Mirage High School girls tennis team for making it to their second consecutive CIF finals. Unfortunately, they did not take home the championship title, but they played great and they had a strong effort, and that should be commended. You have to remember too that last year they were CIF champs, so it's tough to repeat in that position. The city of Rancho Mirage has been a big fan of the Rattlers ever since the beginning of their program, and we're happy to support them when the opportunity arises. Approximately 4 years ago, the city donated funds for the purchase of shade structures on the tennis courts. Per their head coach, Owen McIntosh, these shade structures, he said, have been a lifesaver. Upon entering the 5th year of competition, another opportunity for assistance presented itself. The tennis court nets had been falling apart for years, and the harsh desert weather had had their effect on it, and new ones were overdue. The city gladly donated the funds for the purchase of 8 new nets. As you can see in the slide, Rancho Mirage has the finest high school tennis courts in the valley. By the way, they also have the best tennis team in the valley. We look forward to their continued success and working with them in the future. Not to be outdone, the 2017 boys varsity football team made another run into the CIF playoffs, battling hard in the semifinals, but losing a close game to Catella High School. Last year, the Rattlers went all the way to the championship game before losing in overtime by 1 point. Here today, we have several players and coaches from these outstanding programs, and I'd like them to stand when they hear their name. First of all, from the 2017 girls tennis team, girls head coach, Owen McIntosh. Owen, it's great to see you here. Obviously, he's got to be one of the best coaches in the Valley, and the team reflects that. The player, senior Tatiana Harvey, #1 singles. Senior Kyla Eaton, #2 singles. Sophomore Aliana Harvey, #3 singles. Sophomore Antonella Mazzotti, Did I get that right, Antonio? Number 3 doubles, and senior Carla Munoz, number 2 doubles. You guys had a great year, and we'll look forward to seeing you back, some of you next year. So thanks for being here, and you can have a seat now. On Tuesday, the Desert Sun announced the 2017 All De Anza football team. The Rattlers had 13 players named, 7 first team and 6 second team. From the 2017 Boyd varsity team, head coach L.D. Matthews. Coach Matthews has a great record both at Rancho Mirage and other schools in the area, and we all think he's probably the best coach in the whole valley, if not more. Thanks for being here, Coach. Introducing the players, senior running back and defensive back, and captain, number 1, Marcus Pryor. Also first team All-League. Senior offensive lineman and defensive lineman, and captain, number 75, Jesus Venezuela. Jesus, you got to put on a little more weight there. Looking good. Senior, though, so this will be the last year at Rancho Mirage, huh? Yes, sir. Yeah. We'll miss you, no doubt. Junior quarterback, number 7, David Talley. Yeah. Also first team All-League, and really came on at the end of the season and pulled the team through, and they made it into that second round of playoffs. So congratulations, David. Junior linebacker number 31, Mario Montalvo. Sorry about that, Mario. And Mario is also first team All-League. And senior linebacker number 34, Sebastian Rodriguez. Sebastian was voted the defensive MVP for the year. Good work. The Desert Sun said it could be argued that Pryor was the league's best all-around player. He was a threat to score anytime he touched the ball in the return game and ran for 1,852 yards, 24 touchdowns, and caught 3 more touchdown passes out of the backfield. Defensively, he intercepted 3 passes, returned 1 for 42 yards, and made a score with that return. He also made 52 tackles, forced a pair of fumbles, and recovered 2 others. Marcus, what a great year you had. I don't know what you did in all your spare time, though. You're probably making hot dogs in the snack bar at halftime. Did a great job. Probably the best player in the whole valley or the whole league.
Amazing.
The city of Rancho Mirage is so very proud of all of you and the rest of your teammates. A great season by all the players and coaches. You can sit down now. At this time, I'd like to call forward Chris Calderwood, the athletic director for the great high school of Rancho Mirage.
Well, thank you very much. We've had the privilege to come here several times and be recognized, and we certainly appreciate it now. Marcus also made the all hairdo team, so that was probably not in your notes. But if you remember from 5 years ago, Dr. Wagner and I came one time and talked to you about what we thought Rancho Mirage could become. And now, 5 years into this endeavor, we are so proud of what we've accomplished and the people that have accomplished it. And our kids are just amazing kids, and they continue to outdo what's come before, and we hope that continues. I'd like to invite up both of our head coaches to talk a little bit about their teams and what they did, because it's really about what these kids have accomplished in a very short time. And some of them are seniors who've been a big part of what we've done for the entire 4 years they've been here. And it's going to be sad to see them go. But, you know, the one thing about high school, no matter how good a job you do with them, they always send you a brand new crop the next year. So we look forward to those new people coming in. And now we have Coach Matthews and Coach McIntosh will talk to you a little bit more about specifically what they've done.
Well, once again, I feel honored to be in front of this august body. I think now I've been here 4 times, twice to accept the accolades for having made it to the CIF championship game 2 years in a row. What Chris didn't mention is that we were moved up a division from 5 to 4 and made the finals despite that increased competition. We love what goes on at Rancho Mirage High School. I'm sure all of you have been there. You've seen the quality of the campus. Well, that's just the face of it. It goes deeper. There's an electricity in this school, especially in the athletic department, that you don't notice in others. I've been around athletics all my life, as I'm sure LD has. And when you walk on our campus or you go to one of our games, you feel an energy that is difficult to comprehend. Come out to a practice, come out to a match, come out to a game. It's phenomenal. Our kids are fantastic athletes that compete against other schools that are so much further along in terms of age and numbers. Our school is relatively small. We've beaten teams in the playoffs that were double our enrollment, some more than that. And so they've come a long way in a very short amount of time. And we're very, very proud of that fact. And we're building what I believe to be a tradition that is going to be difficult to match in the Valley, certainly, but perhaps in even a wider area than that. So we look forward to the next challenge, which is moving up in a league and perhaps in another division in CIF as well, in as much as we went 21-0 and 20-1 in the last 2 years. And that challenge will probably cause us to feel our lumps as we did in the very first year that we competed. We were 10-11 and didn't even win our league. But as a brand new school with only, I think, 7 players on the team, where we had to forfeit a third round or a third doubles match every match, we still won our league. I think we did quite well. In any event, I'm very, very happy to be a part of this school. I'm very happy to be in front of you, a group that has supported us throughout all this. We are your success story in addition to our own. And I'm looking forward to the balance of my time here in addition to helping this school grow and compete at the highest levels. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. And Coach?
Better watch out, Mr. Mayor. He might take your job here someday with Coach McIntosh. I'll tell you what.
I'm getting very afraid.
The standard is set very high at Rancho Mirage High School, as it should be. And it starts with our leadership at the high school. It started with Dr. Wagner when he first opened the school, Mr. Calderwood, and our new principal, Ms. Haga, has continued that. When you get support from all stakeholders, and they truly believe that athletics and extracurricular activities are important, they can tie the kids to the school, you're bound to have some type of success. You know, the standard is very high. Our football team in particular had very hard expectations this year, a lot of pressure coming off of their brothers in front of them being in the CI finals. We were Division 12 last year. We were moved up this year to Division 11. In fact, in the quarterfinals, we faced Arroyo High School, the team that beat us in overtime, 35-34, and we're fortunate enough to get a little revenge on them and beat them in overtime, 27-21, to get into the semifinals. So these kids behind us, and particularly the seniors, Marcus Pryor and Jesus, they've been here since day one, and they've been a part of 30 wins at Rancho Mirage High School. Marcus Pryor in particular holds 50 school records, which is completely unbelievable, and some of his records I don't know if they'll be touched for a long time to come, including 7,000 total yards. He started in 48 games in his career, Some of his stats are unbelievable. They're all on our website if you'd like to check them out at ranchomiragehighschool.org. But simply, the pioneer of our football program is Marcus Pryor and Jesus, kids that were here and have been a part of every win in school history. So I feel very proud and blessed that I have an opportunity to coach at Rancho Mirage High School. I think as a coach, you come into a school and you want to represent your team and your family and your program, but we have so many excellent coaches. As you can see, Coach McIntosh and some of the other sports, Coach Hamner, Coach Robinson, Coach Coley, across the board, Coach Shaw, where the standard is every year we're trying to compete to put the best product on the field. And there's obviously competition between us coaches, and at the same time, we're everybody's biggest fans. And yeah, I take great pride in coaching with Coach McIntosh and watching the success. Every day I go out to football practice and I'm walking by and watching how he works with those girls, and to see how tough those girls are, it motivates me as a coach. And I think that is in due part to Mr. Calder, our AD, who has expanded that throughout our whole athletic department on how we support each other and how we want to represent Rancho Mirage High School and represent this city. So you're a huge you're a huge part of that. So we appreciate all your support, and we're very thankful that you're here. So thank you.
Thank you. Number one, would you like to say a few words?
It's a nice jacket, Richard, that he has on.
I would like to say I'm just so thankful to be a part of such a great program at Rancho Mirage, and I thought it was pretty cool to see him at every game. He just comes to the game by himself, sits by himself, and look up in the stand and see right there with his jacket on. And it's pretty cool to see that people from around the city come in to watch us play and stuff like that. And ultimately, I'm just thankful for such amazing people around me, Calder Wood and Coach Matthews and stuff like that. It's made me a better person, player, and a student. So thank you guys for everything.
Thank you. Thank you.
Are you or any of your pals headed toward SC by any chance? I hope.
No.
Drat.
Was that a plug, Dana?
Well, it was a prayer.
Thank you, Marcus. One more word.
I would be remiss in not having Tatiana stand up. She won't come up and talk to you, but I want her to stand up. Tatiana, please stand up.
Tatiana, number one.
Tatiana was undefeated in 4 seasons in the De Anza League. 4 seasons undefeated. And
in 4 seasons, how many losses did she have?
well, the only losses she had were in the late rounds of the CIF playoffs, 1, and in the individual playoffs for CIF championships, where she lost to the number 1 seed twice in 3rd rounds in that tournament, and then this year to the number 3 seed in the 2nd round. Those are the only losses she's had. So she didn't want to tell you that. Yeah. She didn't want to tell you that, but I would be remiss if I walked away not having told you that. So thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. Want to thank all the kids from the high school that are coming up today, and the coaches. Obviously, we've got great teams, we've got great coaches, and we've got great teachers at the school that put it all together. So Rancho Mirage is going to be at the top of these leagues for a long time, I think, especially with great kids like you and great teachers and a great AD, huh? So look forward to next year. Basketball has already started, guys, and they've got a good team. So get out and take a look at it. It's a great gymnasium and a great team to go along with it. So thanks for being here today. You're a great look at the future. So good luck to you all.
And go Rattlers.
Yes, yes. Well, it is indeed a very state-of-the-art campus, and you should all be very proud Also with your parents that have
How could a
forced you
quarterback
through.
not do great with a U standing somewhere to keep the enemy away?
Thank you, everybody. All right, very good. We'll wait till Richard gets back. Here he comes. All right, now we will move on to approve the regular, wait a minute, I didn't go to Mr. Dana Hobart, pardon me. I'm
Well,
remiss.
it feels anticlimactic after all of the
Yeah, I got so carried away.
athletes that we just saw and the great track record of our school. But I'm here to mention the fact that the lighting and shade enhancements at our dog park have recently been completed. The interior of the park received 11 new LED pole-mounted lights, and they match the existing lighting around the exterior walking path. The new lights are set to be on during the normal park hours, 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Shade sails were added to the existing shade structures in both the small dog and large dog sections of the park. The sails incorporate nicely and provide additional shade around the seating areas. Those of you who take your dogs down to the park, we'd like to hear back from you to see if we're missing anything, because if we are, we want to know about it. We want our dog park to be appreciated both by the dogs and incidentally by the owners. So we look forward to hearing any reports that anybody has, but we think you're going to like what you see when you get to our new dog park.
Thank you, Dana.
Amen.
I'd also like to say
Amen.
a shout out to Mark Zambito, who really heads up that project. Wonderful job, you and your staff. Thank you. Next, Iris Montres.
Thank you so much. This is truly a joyous time of year with all the festivities, but it's also a time for an annual serious recognition of a painful time in history, and that's December 7th, which is Remembrance of Pearl Harbor Day. Today we remember and pay homage to one of the most tragic days in American history, but we also commemorate the date of December 8th, because that's a day when Americans came together as never history has seen before. At 7:45 a.m. on Sunday, December 7th, 1941, the Japanese Navy, after flying 4,500 miles across the Pacific Ocean, launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor at Ford Island, which came in 2 waves of attack. The barrage lasted 110 minutes and destroyed or crippled 18 United States ships, destroyed nearly 300 planes, killed 2,403 people and 68 civilians, and wounded 1,178 others. It is also the tragic event that pulled the United States into World War II. The next day, President Franklin D. Roosevelt asked Congress to declare war, which he did with just 1 dissenting vote. The president also proclaimed December 7th a day which will live in infamy. And interestingly, he made a last-minute edit to his speech, changing the words, "a day that will live on in world history," to "a day that will live on in infamy." And you can see on the screen his actual speech as it was typed and the corrections he made. And the phrase, "Remember Pearl Harbor," became a rallying cry for the United States during World War II. More than 12 million American men and women of the greatest generation served during the course of the war. And heartbreakingly, more than 400,000 of them were killed. All ships that were sunk at Pearl Harbor were later raised, except for the USS Arizona, which sunk with more than 1,100 men on board. 6 of the ships were raised returned to service, and participated in the continuing war efforts. The Japanese specifically chose to attack on a Sunday because they believed Americans would be more relaxed and less alert on a weekend. And in fact, many U.S. servicemen were either still in their pajamas or eating breakfast in the mess hall when the attack began. The planes only attacked the ships at the Harbor Naval Base and airplanes at Hickman Airfield, leaving surrounding areas such as repair facilities and the submarine base and fuel oil storage areas unharmed. Aircraft carriers, the primary target of the attack, were not at the base at the time and were able to survive. There were 8 battleships at Pearl Harbor that day, and all but one were lined up in Battleship Row. And in 1962, a floating national monument was erected on the hull of the sunken ship, the Arizona. And if you have never been to Hawaii and you intend to go, please make sure that you pay a tribute and a tour to the Arizona Memorial. So I would also like to show a video. It only takes 90 seconds, but it clearly shows the tragic attack and this devastation that took place.
That night of December the 7th, there was only one light on this whole island, and that was the Arizona burning.
Thank you so much, Jason. I would also like to share the experience now of a very special event which took place to honor all veterans, past, present, and future. On November 11th, the official Veterans Day in America, the Rancho Mirage City Council had the honor of unveiling and presenting to the entire community the City of Rancho Mirage Veterans Recognition Wall and Memorial Flame Monument at the Rancho Mirage Community Park. The ceremony began with the presentation of colors from the 29 Palms Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center's Color Guard. Dozens of people attended the ceremony, along with several veterans who served during American history's biggest wars, including World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War. One of these men was retired Air Force Colonel Bob Lilac, who spoke about his time in the service and what it means to him to be a veteran. Also attending was active duty First Sergeant David Tellefson from the 29 Palms Marine Corps Air Ground Combat Center, who spoke about freedom and the symbolism behind the United States flag, for which he and so many others before him fought and too often died preserving and honoring and defending the flag. The ceremony concluded with the playing of the theme songs of the 5 branches of the military, while those who served stood at attention when their theme songs were played. The singing of God Bless America and a flyover, provided by the Palm Springs Air Museum, added the finishing touches to a beautiful and meaningful tribute, a ceremony to our treasured veterans. In closing, I would like to say that I personally, as well as the city of Rancho Mirage, cannot say enough about how grateful we are for our veterans and how honored we are to provide a small token of our appreciation at our Rancho Mirage Community Park. And I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the staff members who worked to make this beautiful monument and sitting area a reality. And a huge thank you to Mark Sambito, sitting at the end of our dais. Working with him was an absolute delight. And I thank the City of Rancho Mirage for being able to make this available to all of our community and our veterans. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well done, Iris. Thank you. Mr. Ted.
And thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. I'd also like to suggest to our erstwhile council member, Richard Kite, that ESPN has called, and they'd like to interview you for a sportscaster job. And they have just been so impressed with the way you handle the Rattlers that you have a future without a doubt. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, comes from the heart. Many of you are already aware of what we have in store tomorrow at our community park. It's the Rancho Mirage Holiday Spectacular. And it's going to be a terrific event. For those of you that have been to the amphitheater, you know what it's like. It's just a terrific facility. And this is truly in the spirit of the holidays. The presentation will be in 60 minutes. The show begins at 5 o'clock, and the gates open at 4 o'clock. Ted Herbin's big band will be performing several holiday favorites with song and dance performed by David Green's Musical Theater University, featuring local performing arts students and Broadway stars. Any of you that have seen David and the way he conducts the group, it's very infectious. You start to feel the music because he gets into it with such enthusiasm that it'll be fun for everyone. The fact that it's a 1-hour presentation is going to be terrific. Santa's Helpers, by the way, for all of the kids, the families that are watching, that you'd like to bring the children out tomorrow, there will be spreading holiday cheer and serving complimentary treats, including coffee, cocoa, cookies, and candy canes. And Santa himself will be making a special appearance. And be prepared that it may snow, and there will be, I assure you, there will be snowflakes coming down. Seating will be limited and is on a first-come, first-served basis, but feel free to bring blankets and chairs for viewing from the terraces and the grass area. As you know, the amphitheater is constructed in such a way that you can sit in the surrounding areas and still have a terrific view of the stage. I certainly hope to see you there tomorrow. It's going to be a terrific performance, and thanks very much, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ted. Appreciate that. Now we will move on to the approval of the regular meeting minutes of November 16th, 2017.
So moved.
However,
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor, my good buddy Ted down there, great presentation, Ted, but it's the wrong date. It's not tomorrow. It's Saturday, isn't
All right,
it?
how about Saturday? If you prefer, Saturday would be ideal, and indeed it is Saturday. Thank you so much.
And you're right, Ted. I owe you a buck because you bet me $1 that he would correct you. And you've proved it. I now owe you $1.
And I put him to the test, and he passed it. So again, folks, it is Saturday, a great event. Thank you, Richard.
very good. Dana, only $1. You could at least a 10.
I didn't want to hurt anybody.
His feelings.
Myself in particular.
Thank you. Now with that, I will continue. Now we will move on to the approval of the regular meeting minutes of November 16th, 2017.
So moved.
However, the city, nope, excuse me, you're interrupting the mayor. However, the mayor has a schedule here. He has a program. However, the city council informed me that there are a couple of minor corrections. The minutes shall reflect that the council member, while abstained from voting on the November 2nd, 2017 meeting minutes, as he wasn't present. The minutes shall also reflect that 2 separate motions were made for item number 7, which was approval of the general plan update. Now, are there any additional corrections to the minutes? All right, seeing none, I will make the motion to approve the November 18th, 2016-2017 regular city council meeting minutes, including the stated corrections. Now, is there a second?
I will second it.
How many seconds? Let me hear.
No way.
No second over here.
Oh, none on this side. I have one on this side.
We're
Do I-
rebelling over here.
Is
No,
that
we
it?
don't have any over on this side.
None on this side. I have
No,
one on
this
this
side.
side. Very good. Gone. Sold to Iris. All right, I will make that motion, which I did. There's a second. Please vote now. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, everybody. Next is the consent calendar. I am going to turn this over to Mr. Randy Binder, our city manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Good afternoon. There's just a couple items on your consent calendar today. Item number 1 is to waive the full reading of the ordinances that are introduced or adopted pursuant to today's agenda. And if you don't want to do that, we can have Isaiah Hegerman read each one.
I'm telling you, one of these days, Randy, I'm going to do it.
That's why it's on the agenda.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Item number 2 on consent is second reading of the ordinance that amends the city's zoning map to be consistent with the general plan land use element. Jason, can you show the picture of the map? This is a map that you all have on your wall, and people can download it at home or get copies of it from the planning department. You can use it to put on your wall as a decoration or for holiday gift wrapping. The point is that it is a land use and zoning map. It's a general plan and a zoning map. I don't know of any other city in California that puts both together, and the importance of that, we've been doing it for years, right, Jeremy? Is that you have to maintain consistency between your general plan and your zoning on each and every parcel in the city, and that's required by state law. It's required in every finding you make when you approve a project. And so by having one map, it ensures the city's consistent with its own general plan and helps us implement the general plan. So item number 2 is second reading of that. Item number 3 on your consent calendar is final acceptance of the Monterey Avenue Street Widening Project. Bill Lino, city engineer, was in charge of that project. It was recently completed. It's a third southbound lane on Monterey Avenue, which includes a striped bike lane and about 20 feet of dust polymer coating leading up to the top of the slope towards the west.
Now, Randy, does this add to our bike lane, or is it the same amount that are in there?
It adds a mile to it.
Wonderful.
A mile of formal bike lane.
Wonderful.
Mark's shaking his head. Yes, that's correct.
Yes, very good, Mark.
The original price on this was a little over $1.2 million. $37,000 was added during the project when a couple of items that were unanticipated that I approved for Mark and Bill along the way. The largest of which I think was We found a slab of a homestead house that we didn't realize was there, and so it had to be jackhammered out, excavated and recompacted, and so that increased the cost by about 3%, and that was approved by the city manager pursuant to the purchasing and expenditure policies of the city. And of course, widening that road to 3-lane southbound is consistent with the city's circulation element in the general plan. Item number 4 on your consent calendar is a receive and file item on Senate Bill number 415 called the California Voter Participation Rights Act, codified, and it takes effect on January 1st of 2018. This would require a city that does not have adequate voter turnout to move their elections to June or November of even-numbered years to coincide with state and federal elections. The city clerk and the city attorney independently and then collectively calculated the city's the election responses, the voter turnout in Rancho Mirage, and have determined that the voter turnout is above that requirement, which means that Senate Bill 415 does not apply. So the point is that you do not have to change your the time of the year that you have elections.
Very good. So there's no changes on our behalf.
Right. Item number 5 on consent, our approval of 2 contracts. They're described in your staff report. And item number 6 is demands. And staff is here, Mr. Mayor, to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate that. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak on any of these items, or any of the council member wish to speak?
Well,
Yes,
this
please.
council member doesn't really wish to speak, but he does have a question.
Yes.
If you turn to page 5-2, I noticed that it says that what happened, I guess, in this purchase was additional compensation for work that had been going on before. And what I'm wondering is, was that additional work that was required, that's identified there under scope, was that part of the original bid agreement, or was that something that was added subsequently for which we incurred the additional expense of $34,000?
That was something that was added subsequently. Is that right, Mark? Would you like to explain it, if you can?
I can and be glad to do that. Mr. Hobart, the scope on the original project had expanded, all relative to the ADA compliance.
Expanded when?
work.
Before the bid or after the bid?
No, following the
Was it
bid. So during the construction, we had to do a little bit more work than originally anticipated in order to make the curb returns ADA compliant. So between
Well, the anticipation wasn't something they would have taken into consideration. It's something we added subsequently.
That's correct. The city
Okay.
staff changed the scope.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, seeing no more questions, no more comments, I will make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented. Is there a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Please vote.
Councilmember Hobart, could you try your vote one more time? Thank you, and motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Chrissy. Moving on now to the public hearings. Item number 7 is a request for an extension of time for a tentative track map. Josh Altop, Associate Planner, will present the staff report. Josh?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and council members. This request is the consideration of a second tentative track map extension of time for TTM numbers 36620, which was approved by the City Council on December 4th, 2014. The applicant is requesting an extension of time because they are currently unable to develop the project due to ongoing infrastructure improvements that are being completed by CVWD. The applicant is not proposing any changes to the project with this request and simply wishes to extend the expiration date. The project is located in an area of the city commonly known as Section 30. The site is just north of the Versailles community and is less than a half a mile from the new Rancho Mirage dog park. There are two different zoning classifications within the project boundaries, RL2 and RM, the latter of which makes up the majority of the project, and the tentative map seeks to subdivide just under 34 acres of land into 82 residential lots. The average lot size project-wide is 11,523 square feet and has an overall density of 2.4 dwelling units per acre. In addition to the 82 residential lots, there are multiple lots which have been designed for common open space, as shown in green on this exhibit. The Planning Commission reviewed the subject request at their November meeting. During the presentation, staff recommended that the project be considered for a 2-year extension of time rather than the typical 1-year extension of time because the applicant has not been provided with an opportunity to record the map due to ongoing CVWD infrastructure improvements within the Mission Hills pressure zone. The Planning Commission discussed the merits of a 2-year extension and concluded that it would be appropriate to make such a recommendation to the City Council. Should the City Council choose to uphold the Planning Commission's recommendation, the applicant would have 2 years to complete the final map with a new expiration date of December 4th, 2019. This concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to address any questions the council members may have.
Thank you, Josh. Any council comments or questions?
There's no
the
reason.
project?
Do you see any reason to not accept the recommendation of the Planning Commission?
No, sir.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you, Dana. Richard?
Josh, one more time as to why the delay with CV Water?
Their original timeline was for December 2015. It's 2017 and they're just finishing up. The codes won't allow a map to be recorded until it can receive water. There is no water available until this project gets done. So once this gets done, the map can be recorded and then they can move forward. So they've almost been in a hold pattern for the last 3 years, at least since the map was approved originally in 2014.
And we anticipate the CV Water District issue will be taken care of over the...
We've been working with them. Within the next couple months, it should be finalized and operational.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments from council on this project? All right, seeing none, I will open it up to the public. Anybody wish to speak on this project? All right, seeing none, I will close the public hearing. I will call for a motion.
Move that we approve the 2-year extension of time for tentative track map 36620, subject to the conditions of approval and based on the findings and content in the attached staff report.
Thank you, Dana. Second? All right, we have a second. Please vote.
Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Chrissy. We'll now move to the action calendar. Item number 8 is a resolution regarding marijuana delivery. Brian Kephart, Senior Code Compliance Officer, will present the staff report.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. Before you today is a resolution to adopt a marijuana delivery business license policy for the City of Rancho Mirage. This policy adoption is the final step necessary to formalize and file the city's marijuana regulations with the state of California, in preparation for the state to begin issuing licenses on January 1st, 2018. This policy will address 2 separate items. First, the city's issuance of a business license for the delivery of marijuana shall only be from a state licensed retailer located outside the boundaries of the city. City staff shall review all applications and verify they are appropriately licensed by the state prior to the issuance of any delivery license. Second, the state shall not issue any license to any person or organization seeking to operate a marijuana retailer based within the City of Rancho Mirage pursuant to the Medicinal and Adult Use Cannabis Regulation and Safety Act. The city retains the authority to prohibit commercial marijuana activity based within the city. If this policy is adopted today, the city will formally submit its policy and ordinance to the state for filing. Additionally, the state requires the city to designate a local contact to address any questions or concerns regarding our policy or ordinance. The City Code Compliance Division shall be the designated contact for all inquiries and application verification. the state will contact the city to verify any application prior to issuance. In summary, this resolution continues our longstanding policy of prohibiting marijuana retailers based within the city, but allowing delivery from lawful businesses based outside of the city. At this time, I would like to thank Steve and his team at the City Attorney's Office for their assistance in drafting this policy, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Thank you, Brian. I'd like to just make a point that the Rancho Mirage has had a very, very successful delivery program since we started it. Now I will open it up. Any members of the public wish to speak regarding this item? All right, seeing none. Any council members have any questions or comments? All right, seeing none, we will move along and I will call for a motion.
So moved.
Please vote.
I'm sorry, I did not catch the second.
The second was, Richard, did you?
Didn't hear a second, Mr. Mayor. I made the motion.
You made the motion? Second? Now
Thank
the
you.
pot's right. Thank you. Please
And
vote.
motion passes 5-0.
Very good. Next item is number 9, which was previously pulled from the agenda. And from that, we will now go into closed session. Mr. Quintanilla, will you please introduce the closed session items?
I will, Mr. Mayor. City Council at this point is going to recess into closed session pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9 regarding 3 potential initiation of litigation items and the case known as Veronica Juarez versus City of Rancho Mirage.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everybody, for being here and watching us on TV. Have a good evening. We are now adjourned into closed session.